Hey everybody, today I'm starting a series of books that made me who I am. If you have not done this as a reader, whether you do channels or not, I think it's a really great thing to look back over the books that have formed you into something different. Life, after all, is all about changing and becoming something different than you used to be. So I kind of divided it out into a couple different topics because I didn't want the videos to get too terribly long. So I will go ahead and start off with the books that I feel have kind of shaped my core. And then another video I will do the ones that have shaped my faith. And then another one I will talk about the books that maybe made me a feminist or a person concerned with racial justice, social justice, advocacy, and those kinds of things. So I've already done a couple videos that are similar or maybe reviews on some of these books, and I'll link those below when they're appropriate because yeah, rabbit trails go down, down, down. So the first up, actually these two are by the same author, The Secret Garden and A Little Princess by Hodges Burnett. And these two books are the same ones I've had since I was 6. But for me, they formed me in different ways, I guess. So The Secret Garden, if you've not read it, is a classic. A lot of people have heard of it. I remember seeing even the movie when I was younger and just adoring it. But this kind of, you'll see as you go through a lot of my book recommendations and things that have made me, the transformation of a person is big for me in a book. If a character doesn't change through a book, I'm bored. Even if it's a good plot, it's hard for me to really it's got to be a super good plot for me to give up character development because I just get frustrated. Just like I get frustrated in real life with people who I feel have the opportunity to change and grow and discard it. So Secret Garden, if you don't know, Mary is quite contrary and she's lonely more than anything. And she goes to live with her uncle's house in this giant English manor and doesn't feel like she has a soul in the world to confide in. And the more she exposes herself with nature and kind of lets other people into her life, the more she changes into this beautiful, kind, loving creature. And I think while there's a lot of symbolism in here and you can kind of go into that, we all kind of need those special secret places in ourselves. However, if you don't ever share it with someone or look to grow it and cultivate it and make it better, it's a wasted opportunity. So for me, the imagination, the imagery in this just made me feel like I wanted to not only have my own spot and my own places to kind of cultivate that beauty in myself, but I also wanted to look for people who could share those passions with me. It also kind of gave me a bit of wonder and imagination for nature, and I think that's been kind of really important to me as well. So that's why The Secret Garden gets a mention. Next is A Little Princess, and I, of course, liked the Shirley Temple version, but even more adored the one that came out in the 90s. This book, for me, started me on the thought that is central in my brain most days. We are what we feel from other people. And if you feel like you are loved and you are special and you are beautiful and you're a princess or whatever, you will act like one. If you don't, you might not give that back into the world. And that's why I feel like it's a very important undertaking to be responsible with everyone else around me, knowing that I'm cultivating their lives just as much as they're cultivating my life. And if I'm pointing out beauty in them, they will rise to the occasion. And if I'm pointing out the courage and the valor and the virtue in someone else, they're most likely going to try and be that person. It's there's a lot of psychology behind that, which is something I studied in college. If I, however, choose to look at somebody as worthless or a waste of space, they probably will act like that for me. So Little Princess, very similar. I have a big issue with the princess culture around princesses that don't do anything. Princesses that are just the idea that people teach little girls of bossing people around and saying that they're the queen of everything and that everybody needs to bow down before them. And and they get to have everything they want, or somebody referring to as a little girl as a princess in that she gets to get away with murder. And for me, what I love about this is that Sarah is a princess of kindness and virtue, and she acts in a regal way regardless of the situation that she is put in. And I think if you look at the royalty that people look up to in history, or even just like Kate Middleton right now, or Princess Di, those kinds of things, those people were royalty, but they acted like it. They treated others around them with respect and kindness, and looked for ways to make the world better. And I think that is the kind of princess that I can get down with. I really have a hard time with princess culture in other senses of the word. So that's my own baggage. Next up is not really a book. Well, I mean, it is a book. It's the wish list. And the story behind this is my mom and I found them at a bookstore. I want to say I was like, I don't know, 8 or 9. And we bought them for ourselves. And in this, there's, I mean, probably thousands, because there's about 20 on each page, and I could do the math, but I'm not going to. And you go through and check off things that you do. And I need to go through, it's been a very long time since I've checked off things. And you have also blank spaces to write in your own wish lists. But this book was the first thing that kind of prompted me, but also my mom, on ways to look for adventure. And not only our regular life, but in our vacations. We're always trying to take things to the next level and kind of squeeze extra fun and celebration in. And I think this book is highly responsible for that. My favorite story in here is there is a line where it says, dance in Buckingham Fountain in Chicago, which technically is illegal, I think. My parents live near Chicago, and my aunt, we also got one of these for her. And there was one time where she was visiting with us from out of state, and we'd talked about doing this for a while, but also recognized that we weren't supposed to be doing it. And my dad, who is amazing, and he often watches my videos, so hi, Daddy. He drove us by. It was really late, so it was dark out. The fountain was off because it was wintertime, and we were all in like these really warm coats. And he pulled over on the side and said, "Put up or shut up," and just said, "You guys, there's your fountain. If you want to go dance in it, go do it now, because otherwise it's probably not ever going to happen." So we got out and we danced in Buckingham Fountain and took a picture and got out of there as fast as we could. So that is just one of the fun stories that I've added to my life because of this book. And I think that's why this book gets a mention. And you can get them a lot of places. It's been around forever. You could probably find it on Amazon in the used section for a cent at this point. So next up is Anne of Green Gables. No surprise here. I made my husband watch the movies in the past couple of years, and he also agrees. He understood me a lot better as a person after seeing the movies. Anne is a kindred spirit. She is one who looks, again, for the beauty in other people and in nature, and she's always looking to make stories out of things and imagine life to be grand. And then she also finds that her regular life is just as grand as she thought it would be, just very different than she expected. And I just really adore Anne. I actually still need to finish the whole series. I'm slowly purchasing the source books versions because I think the cover art is beautiful. But Anne will always have my heart. I remember going out in fields and pretending that I was Anne for hours on end. So those are ones kind of from my childhood. These next ones are more my young adult, or even up until the last few years, I guess. But this one is The Courage to Start by the Penguin John Bingham. And if you would have known me as a child, or even in a high schooler, you would have known that I am not an athlete per se. My sister is very athletic. I am not. I'm the book reader, but I also have found it really important to connect with my body and to take care of it, to appreciate it. And I've always had wanted to run a half marathon. Not a whole marathon, but a half marathon had always been on my bucket list. And again, because of the wish list book, I had to cross it off. And so my husband and I, a few years ago, actually decided we were going to do it. And part of it was because I got this book. I'd started working out and felt like my breathing was up to the point where I could actually start running, not being fast or racing or doing anywhere what other people could do. But what I love about this book is he tells you, and this, so much of this applies to regular life. He talks about if you want to do it and decide to do it, you are that person. And I wanted to read to you this part. You look at your unique combination of body parts and are convinced that you can never be made to run. You are probably wrong. I can say that because I was wrong. I was wrong in thinking that runners had a particular kind of body, and wrong in thinking that my body could not become the body of a runner. I was wrong in limiting what I could be by imagining only what I thought I could not be. Your shape could be the shape of a runner. Your body, for all of its shortcomings and excesses, could still be the body of a runner. After all, if you run with your body, it becomes the body of a runner. And I don't know how many times I've told myself that, not just for running, but for if you want to be a booktuber, be a booktuber. Just do a booktube video. Like, if you don't like it, you don't have to post it. If you want to be a homeschool mom, try it. And I actually shared that with my sister, who is starting her running regimen again. And she said she repeated it on her first run over and over again in her head, which meant a lot to me that she actually listened to a word I said. But I love that he says the courage to start just means that you don't have to do a mile on your first run out. He ran to the end of his driveway and back. And that was what he could do to start off. And he calls himself the Penguin because he waddled a bit when he started. And anyway, if you are interested in running or working out or trying something new, this is a great one. Even if you don't need it for the running advice, it's perfect. The next book is Donald Miller's A Million Miles in 1,000 Years. If you are familiar with the book Blue Like Jazz, he wrote it. And this is the book he wrote while they were making it into a movie. He kind of felt like, as a writer, he had hit his stride and hit this apex and then didn't know what to do afterwards. And then the movie people came and said, we'd like to make this into a movie if you can help us with the screenplay. But they also talked to him about how they were going to have to change things to make it more movie worthy. But while he was doing that, he realized how to live better. And so if you're a movie person or a person who likes a good story and thinks of your life as a story, this is perfect book to pick up. It's not very long. It doesn't feel very self-helpy to me because it feels more like a memoir. What I learned while editing my life is the subtitle. And I've gone back to this several times. I have underlined so many bits out of it. So I really highly recommend reading this if you are trying to figure out which direction to go with your life, or if you're feeling like there's so many places you could go and you don't know what you want to do. The next one, it's very personal to me. Shauna Niequist, I've actually mentioned a few times before, but this book, Bittersweet, Thoughts on Change, Grace, and Learning the Hard Way, I read after I had a miscarriage a few years ago, and I bawled my eyes out through this chapter. And this chapter, she talks about how after she went through it, she realized several other people had gone through it. I don't think a lot of people talk about it. People are getting better about talking about it, but this is what I wrote, or this is what she wrote. There is right now no little baby heartbeat inside me, but there is still inside my ribs my own beating heart. Battered and raw, my tired old heart, but beating. And every beat reminds me that my own life is unfolding, and my own heart will keep on beating, even if its beating is singular for now. I look for life everywhere I can find it, sustained by the rhythm of my own lonely heartbeat, the smell of rosemary, the sound of Henry's breathing as he sleeps. And I think there's so much she writes in here, not just about miscarriages, but about going through the hard things and trying to find something sweet about them. And yeah, the way she writes, I just really appreciate. Next up is, no surprise, John Steinbeck of Mice and Men. This book I found last year, and it sent me down the Steinbeck rabbit hole. I love how he talks about connecting people and having that one person that can kind of be your person in your family. And in this story, it's very short. I mean, I want to say, it's like 103, 104 pages. this book was just a great reminder to me that everybody's just looking to be understood, and to have one person, no matter how simple they are, to get what they're about. And so it encouraged me to look around at the people in my life and make sure that they were feeling heard, that they were feeling understood, that they had somebody to talk about their rabbit dreams with. And so, yeah, of mice and men. And the last one that kind of, I don't know, made me think about some of life is actually the Hunger Games. Just the idea of consumption and what that looks like, and trying to figure out what in my life is at the expense of other people. So that kind of feeds in a little bit with what I'll talk about in another video, but I'll throw that one in. So the Hunger Games trilogy. So that is my first video on books that have made me who I am as a person. What are the books that you feel like, especially in your younger years, have shaped you? I would love to hear in the comments. If you've read any of these or have comments or questions about them, put that in the comments. Please like, subscribe, share. You know the drill. I will talk to you all later. Bye.